and welcome into our Uniquely West Texas series. We are live at our final stop in beautiful Fort Davis. Crystal, this town is cool to say the least. What a great place.
It is absolutely beautiful out here. This is our last stop. Our journey began 3 weeks ago when we started in the city of Big Spring. And then, of course, we showed you the sights and the sounds of Fort Stockton, Marfa, and what better way to end it than right here under the stars at the McDonald Observatory.
That's right. We might be at the observatory ourselves, but we do have some friends that took the road trip with us, Tyler Dupnick and Hunter Alcocer. They're out there going to tell you some stories about how cool this place is. We're going to go into so much detail and they'll break it all down for you. But for now, we'll start right where our feet are here at the observatory.
Well, you know, let's go ahead and check in with Tyler and let's check in with Hunter. Tyler Dupnick is over in Fort Davis. He's actually at the fort, so he's going to be talking to a National Parks rep about this legendary place that on the frontier, that the town and the whole place started from there. So we'll learn more about that. Hunter Alcocer will be at the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center, so he's going to show us the wild side of things here in Fort Davis. You know, this really is one of the hot spots across the state for hikers and for campers. So sit tight, guys. We'll be with you in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we can actually start now here at the observatory where, Crystal, we walked into this place just blown away by all the history behind it and just so much to really talk about.
Well, you know, the observatory actually started 80 years ago by the University of Texas. Fun fact, the University of Chicago ran it for 30 years, and the reason why is because UT Austin did not have an astronomy center or classes, basically a department to do that. They run it now. Another cool thing, it's home to one of the largest telescopes in the world. What they really do is they kind of push the boundaries of, those telescopes show us where we stand in the universe, how big we are, and one of the cool things that they're studying is dark matter. Dan Grigsby actually got a chance to tour the observatory. He has more on that.
High in the Davis Mountains sits one of the most unique features in not just West Texas, but in the entire world. That is the McDonald Observatory, located just north of Fort Davis at an altitude of almost 6,800 feet. It's here where numerous telescopes, including one of the largest in the world, are pointed up at the night sky to conduct groundbreaking research, helping us better understand our universe. The Hobby Eberly, shown here, is the third largest reflecting telescope in the world. Almost everything you can imagine being in the night sky is observed right here in West Texas.
This telescope was built to do everything. We can observe anything that an astronomer wants to look at in the sort of optical and infrared wavelengths. So we observe exoplanets orbiting other stars, we observe supernovas when stars explode, we observe whole galaxies, comets, asteroids, star-forming nebulas. If you have a science project, chances are this telescope can help answer your questions.
Not only is this one of the largest telescopes, but it's also one of the most unique in the sense of how it was designed and how it's operated.
I think the most interesting design aspect of this telescope is that our mirror doesn't move while we're observing. So we can spin, we can rotate to any azimuth, north, south, east, west, but we always observe 55 degrees above the horizon, and we track objects as they move across our field of view. So there's only one other telescope in the world like this, and it was built as a copy of this one. So this is like a really revolutionary telescope design.
And despite it being of revolutionary design, the telescope was mostly built out of everyday materials.
When they designed it, they tried to have as few different parts as possible. So interchangeable parts, and then like off-the-shelf components, like the beams that you see behind me, these big steel I-beams, these were built by a bridge fabrication company. So they took a break from building highway overpasses and they built us a telescope structure.
And perhaps one of the most special features of the Hobby Eberly telescope is the community that's been built around it. Dozens of people live up here at the McDonald Observatory, working a variety of jobs to ensure the telescope is functional.
It's sort of a special place where you've got, to make this kind of telescope work, it does not take very many astronomers like me. What we need are the engineers and technicians and administrators and everybody else who keeps this facility running. So they have like 4 of us, 4 astronomers in a staff of like 70.
With everyone working towards a common goal, a family bond is created out here, making this place truly special.
When there's a fire nearby, everybody joins up to help. If there's an emergency or a situation, we're all sort of one family out here. And when problems happen with the telescope, we need help from everybody.
So whether it's for observing stars and galaxies, trying to solve mankind's greatest mysteries, or innovating a revolutionary telescope design, this place is truly unique. But it's the people that live and work here and the community that they've created high in the Davis Mountains that makes this spot special.
We wanted to learn more about what makes the McDonald Observatory so cool out here. So we decided to talk with astronomer Stephen Janowicki about his team and some of the experiments they're running right here at the observatory.
That's right, Crystal. I'm with Stephen Janowicki in front of the Hobby Eberly telescope, this massive, wonderful structure. Stephen, I see all these mirrors up here. You were explaining them briefly what they do. Just talk a little bit about their purpose and kind of the whole installation process behind it.
Sure, yeah, these mirrors are the heart of the telescope. So this is the largest telescope in North America, largest optical telescope, and we have 91 hexagonal mirrors that combine to make a mirror that's about 30 feet across. So they're made of a special kind of glass composite, and they're coated with a really thin layer of aluminum. So that is what catches the light from distant objects in the universe, focuses the light to our instruments, and lets us measure planets and galaxies and stars and everything we can see out there.
And you're talking about the cleaning process. Talk about just how they're kept nice and clean. I mean, it's amazing to see that they're just pristine right now.
Yeah, they're pretty good. We take very seriously maintenance for these mirrors. This is what we need to reflect as much light as possible. So 3 times a week we spray them with a carbon dioxide cleaning spray, a gas that doesn't leave any trace. And then every other week we take actually 2 of these mirrors out of the telescope. We take them down to our lab and we re-illuminize. We spray a fresh coat of aluminum on them. I say we, but I don't do this. I'm an astronomer, and it's the technical engineers who really do all the hard work keeping this telescope running.
And the Magellan telescope, talk about how that's coming along here. I mean, it's a massive project, and just talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so McDonald Observatory is part of the giant Magellan telescope. It's sort of every 30 or 40 years we build another bigger telescope. That's been the case since the 1930s here. So the giant Magellan is the next in our sort of lineage of telescopes. We're a major partner. It's being built in Chile. It's going to be like 10 times bigger than this telescope. It's still several years away, but the mirrors are made, the telescope mount is being constructed. We're helping develop some of the instruments that will go onto it, and it will let us see fainter and more distant things than we've ever seen before. So it's the next step.
Yeah, we can't wait to see it. Well, Stephen, thank you. Crystal, back to you.
The stars are big and bright out here at the McDonald Observatory, Alex. It is simply amazing what they do. One of the best places in the world to see the cosmos. One of the few you can actually do that. Well, coming up after the break, we're going to bring things down from the sky to the ground. We're going to visit the famous historic fort. That's next.
Tyler, mic check 1, 2, 3. Tyler, mic check 1, 2.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed all of the stuff we showed you about the McDonald Observatory, where we're at right now. It is truly amazing place. But now we want to bring things back down to earth a little.
Yeah, we learned so much about the stars in outer space, but let's talk a little bit about how Fort Davis came to actually be called Fort Davis of the fort, of course. Now, this was a road for the guard settlers that used to travel through here from San Antonio until El Paso. And so while they were traveling along, exploring the fort as a National Historic Site, it really became to be the Fort Davis as you know it now. But Tyler Dupnick has so much more information than we do, Crystal, and he can do it and take it away from here. Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah, Alex and Crystal, I am walking here on the hallowed grounds of Fort Davis National Historic Site. And there's so much history here, ranging from the enlisted men's barracks all the way to the officers' private offices, which I have over here. And with a history that dates back a century ago, before the Civil War, this fort is truly unique. In Fort Davis, the fort gives you more than enough opportunity to go back in time.
This is about right here where that was drawn. And that's just us trying to line up. It's better in the winter when you don't have all the trees in the way, but we line up where we see the angles of the cliffs.
Chelsea Rios is the Chief of Interpretation at Fort Davis, a fort that took advantage of a second chance after the Civil War.
This military presence is going to grow in 1867, so this is going to become a cavalry fort. You're looking at its height, almost 700 enlisted men stationed here. And then you're going to have officers and families and civilian contractors all living here in Fort Davis. And so tremendous growth and diversity here in the community.
The fort still includes the hospital, officers' row, housing for families, and all that's left of the post chapel. Walk into the enlisted men's barracks, and Park Ranger Sebastian Flores will tell you about the soldiers who called it home.
The enlisted men's barracks here is so greatly detailed of who the soldiers were, that you're actually looking at their beds where they were staying, to the uniforms and stuff that we have on the walls. But we can dive into any of these names that are on here and tell you that soldier's life story.
This fort is different.
Fort Davis in itself uniquely is the best preserved southwestern frontier fort in the United States.
And every day it serves as a time machine in West Texas.
In the open on the grounds, when you get to see the whole fort in front of you, where you can see the enlisted men's barracks and the officers' quarters and the hospital, you're seeing just this giant quilt of stories in front of you, but you're also seeing the natural landscape and what drew the people here to begin with.
All right, I'm now pleased to be joined by Sebastian Flores, who's one of many park rangers who help preserve the history of this fort. And Sebastian, I included in my story the bite you talking about what makes this about this being the best preserved southwestern frontier. What makes it that way?
Yeah, well, the reason why Fort Davis is the best preserved in the Southwest is because all of it is original fabric and material. None of it has been rebuilt from the ground up. It's all original to the post.
Yeah, definitely. Not just the best southwestern frontier fort in the United States, or it's in the United States, West Texas, very unique. Talking about the post chapel way back behind us, it wasn't just used for service, right? What else was it used for?
No, it was used for a lot of things. It was a schoolhouse. It served as a library as well too. And kind of the most famous thing it was for was that's actually where the courtroom was for Henry O. Flipper when he did his trial here at Fort Davis.
Yeah, sounds good. There's also a hospital here on the grounds as well. Again, there's so much history here at Fort Davis National Historic Site. And can you speak on how important the hospital was, not only to the people that lived on this fort, but just the area in general?
Yeah, so this would have been the best hospital all the way from San Antonio to El Paso. So anybody traveling that road could stop here and get aid. And so it would have been the best medicine and the best doctors around for that whole stretch of travel through the Southwest, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And what kind of events and stuff do you guys have moving forward? How can people find more information about Fort Davis, how to come out here and visit?
Yeah, so a good way to find out for upcoming events is through our website, nps.gov/FODA, and then also Facebook, follow Fort Davis National Historic Site. Our biggest events kind of coming up is August 4th is going to be Fee-Free Day, so all national parks are free that day. And then our biggest event is our candlelight tours in October. So October 12th will be a candlelight tours, and about 2 weeks in advance we open up those reservations and people can come on out, put a reservation, and see us in the evening.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. Thanks Thanks to you and every other park ranger who puts all the effort in to preserve this beautiful site here in West Texas. Yes, thanks, Sebastian. Now, we have more Uniquely West Texas coming up next. After the break, you'll hear from Hunter Alcacer at the Chihuahuan Desert Center. We'll see you after the break on NewsWest 9.
Check Crystal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is beautiful
Alex,
out
mic
here.
check. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Alex. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome back, everyone, to our Uniquely West Texas series here in Fort Davis. All right, Crystal, so we just heard about how Fort Davis came to be from the folks over there at the National Historic Site, and truly a lot of history there.
There is a lot of history. Did you know that also Fort Davis is a hot spot for campers? It really, truly is. That's because of the striking beauty here and, of course, all of the wildlife. Hunter Alcacer, we sent him out exploring the wild side of Fort Davis, and he tells us a little bit more about the wonderful nature out here. Hunter.
Yeah, guys, I'm out here at the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center in Fort Davis, where if you're looking to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, just want some peace and quiet, enjoying nature, the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center is probably the place for you. When you first get out to the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center, aka the Chihuahuan Desert Research Institute, you're going to see a whole lot of land, but not a lot of buildings. This is by design. Too many buildings get in the way of all that nature.
We're on 507 acres, and the hiking trails are back here behind me and over this way. But we have 5 miles of hiking trails, and the botanical garden is 18 acres, and it's its own separate area.
The founders of the Nature Center wanted all the nature they were researching at the time to be front and center, as well as open to the public to enjoy.
It was started in 1973, and it was started by 2 professors at Sul Ross University, Dr. Powell and Dr. Scuddy, and they wanted a place to share their research, and that was their whole idea behind the Chihuahuan Desert Research Institute. Over the years, it has evolved into a nature center when they acquired this land, and then eventually built the visitor center, and from there, people started coming.
But this place just doesn't talk about the local wildlife and desert landscape. The Nature Center also has an exhibit dedicated to the history of mining in this part of Texas.
The mining exhibit talks about the mining heritage in the region, all the way from Terlingua up through even the talc mines outside of Van Horn, sulfur mining outside of Van Horn also. There's quite a lot of history.
Outdoorsy types, those just wanting to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life, or even those just curious, will feel right at home at the Chihuahuan Desert Nature Center, especially since the staff and volunteers at the Nature Center are so passionate about the area.
We love it out here. If you talk to anyone that actually works here and our volunteers, we don't consider it work because it's such a beautiful site. We love having visitors here, and we want people to come here and experience nature.
If you're looking for more information on volunteering opportunities here at the Nature Center, you can always check their website for more info. Back to you guys.
All right, Hunter, thank you so much for that. Well, there you have it, Crystal. We've learned everything from Fort Davis, from wide open skies to the wide open spaces. This is truly a unique stop, and what better place to stop on our final place than here in Fort Davis?
It is a cool place. It's not just cool to visit, but the cooler temperatures here. We are amazed. It is a balmy 91 degrees compared to the hundreds we've been having near home, and that breeze is making things feel a lot cooler. So we're enjoying this weather. Coming up after the break, we're going to send things over to Dan in the studio. He'll get you updated on your forecast, and then we'll be back with the last goodbye from Fort Davis.
Hey, welcome back, West Texas. Here's a look outside the city of Big Spring right now. No clouds today. We got blue skies and temperatures are hot, but they're not too hot. Only 96 degrees right now. It could be a lot hotter across West Texas, so just dealing with moderate heat right now. Outside across the area in the low 90s out in Fort Davis, and 91 degrees, 92 in Marfa. It's 92 in Alpine. A couple of places are still in the triple digits, though. Pecos is at 100 degrees. We're at 100 in Wink as well. Other than that, everyone's in the upper 90s or cooler. So not a bad evening whatsoever. 89 degrees around 10 p.m. We'll cool off tonight with clear skies, 83 around 2 a.m. The heat that's in place right now is from this high pressure, and the fact that it's not directly over us is why our high temperatures are a little bit closer to average. So we'll take that for the time being. Monday, it's going to be centered even further up to the north over Kansas, actually, and from there it's going to head southeastward. And that's going to give us some rain chances for the western portion of the viewing area. So Midland and Odessa don't unfortunately have the best chance of rain, but if you live west of the Pecos River, you could still see some rain, and that's going to wrap up about towards the end of next week. Instead of rain, will be hot and dry as we finish next week. As far as rain total amounts, again, most of the rain is just going to avoid the center part of the state because that high isn't going to move far enough east. So here we see Amarillo could get maybe half an inch, 0 for Midland and Odessa, 0.04 out in Alpine, maybe a fifth of an inch out in El Paso. But for the most part, it looks like most of Texas is going to end up staying dry. 72 as you're stepping out the door tomorrow. Saturday's grillcast, nice and warm, 93 around 2 p.m., 97 at 5. Highs tomorrow, 97, Midland and Odessa, 100 and Pecos. And here's a look at that 9-day forecast. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We bid you one last farewell here from Fort Davis, Crystal. It's been a fun day for sure. We've saw so much about this city, from the skies to the open spaces. Like we told you, this city really has it all. And one thing we didn't show you folks, Mount Locke right behind us.
We're going to step away so you can kind of see there.
Truly remarkable. It's the highest point for Texas highways in the entire state. We were up there before, Crystal. Breathtaking it was really, because it's just a 360 panoramic view of the entire city and beyond.
Yeah, you can see most of the Davis Mountains from there. It's really worth a trip to come up here to the McDonald Observatory. Not only do you get to see the stars, you get to see the incredible landscape. This place is truly unique, and we are so excited to have had a chance to visit here and visit, of course, with the National Park Services and the Chihuahuan Desert Museum. There's so much to offer here, and so have all the other cities that we've been to on our tour. Now, if you missed out on any of our stories, you can, of course, tune in to our 9+ app that is free on Roku, and it's on Roku if you have a Roku and Fire Stick TV. Right. And also check out NewsWest9.com. But we want to encourage you to join us and come see these cities.
Yes, absolutely. It's been so much fun going on the road. We thank you for spending the time with us. For Crystal, I'm Alex. We hope to see you again out on the road here for Uniquely West Texas. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.